Hello Luxury Home Show, Mia Karlsson here. We have another project to show you around. Welcome in. This property was a total refurbishment from top to bottom. In fact, the bottom went one extra level down. And we were involved together with an architecture firm called Chris Dyson, which is incredible, they're great. So when we arrived on the scene, they already done a lot of work to work out where things were going to go, putting in planning permissions and all those things. These two arches were open originally, and this was the entrance to the staircase that led down to the original kitchen and dining room. Now there is something else. They provided us with a space to do something quite special with, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Come in. One of the things that was very, very important to us, and of course the architects as well, because they had been working with their clients some time before we got involved, because it's such a beautiful house, to keep as much of the original features in the property as possible and to respect the age of the property as well. So on that note, we decided to keep the palette for the stairs and landing quite a neutral and calm palette, which was appropriate for the property. We did have to change a few things that had been taken out of the property, so we had to put it back to be more in keeping. For example, this lovely tessellated floor that we had designed, and then we installed that. And on this floor we have the living area and the study, but before we go into those spaces, I would like to show you the space that was stolen back or grabbed back from where the staircase used to be to go downstairs. And this is now quite cute. It's a small guest bathroom. This is original arch, so we have copied that in the joinery behind, so sort of looking through, you have an arch, then you have another arch, and then the flooring is a flooring we designed to be in keeping color-wise, tonally, with what's going on out here. What is not so traditional, if we come up here, is the sink. The colour is not very traditional, but it's such a lovely colour. It's a cast sink. We really enjoy using cast a lot because it gives you a lot of flavour and it's fun. And the wallpaper, I've pondered on this wallpaper. The name of it is the Menagerie of Extinct Animals. So hidden with this quite colourful wallpaper is 10 different extinct animals. But some of them I'm a bit suspect of. I mean, what kind of an animal there was a quilt? It's quite a fun thing to sort of play with when you're sitting here minding your own business, trying to find 10 different ones. Now we're going to the living room, which is a living room, kind of a music room. The main thought process was behind this living room, and also the adjacent study, which we're going to see in a minute, again was to keep as much of the traditional architectural features intact and keep everything off the walls and try to center things in the middle of the room and leave the walls free as far as possible, which is quite nice. When you have enough space, obviously you can do that. If you don't, you can't. In this instant, we could. A very important part in this room, and actually how the room came to be as well, was this lovely traditional Chinese instrument called a guzheng. I hope I said it right, which is played by the owner. So a lot of things flowed from that instrument, and also the room took on, as we carried on designing it, took on quite a few nods and hints to the Chinese or the Asian influence. The artwork in the room is all the client's own, and that in itself are very Asian based. There was one thing we didn't anticipate that would happen in this room when we finished designing, is that these guys came along, and there are apparently exceptionally good loudspeakers. So we can't move them, we can't barely look at them because it would upset the calibration of how they're set up, but they are pretty gorgeous. It makes for a good music room. In order to have the setup of this room more of a central area, you need a rug, and this is a beautifully designed rug, designed by us and Annette Nix, which is our rug maker that we use. And it is picking up all the tones in the room, but it also does center the room. So everything comes around this island. You sort of hop on it and you feel really cozy and happy because you're in a nice space. And it's beautiful. It's 100% wool with silk inset. But it's very nice when you can design your own rugs and then have them realised. This sofa from Roche-Beaubois is amazing. It's soft, it's squishy, it's practical, it has deeper areas, it curves around so you can sit in it, stretch out your legs, and it's a very, very comfortable piece. The armchairs are actually Scandinavian. I mean, I'm Swedish, so I can't help sort of shoehorn in a few pieces. The soft tone of this golden, which is picked up in the rug as well, golden velvet. We were very pleased when we found these lights. So this is a May light, I think it's called. And it's based on the Chinese lanterns, or Asian lanterns you would carry around. And they're made from porcelain, which is a nice natural materials. When they're lit, now it's light, but when they're lit in the evening, it's almost like there's a little lantern above you on the sofa. And it just makes it all come together, and it feels really lovely and cozy. And it's the whole Asian theme in a light. And one more here as well, which is, love this light. So this is paper, and it's based on the Japanese origami traditions, but it's again a modern take on that. It's designed by Inge Maurer. And each light will look different because it's folded. This is the paper that is folded by hand, and then it's sort of speared onto these metal rods with the red tip to them. And I think it's more than a light, it's a sculpture. Again, it gives that sort of soft lighting from it. So coming through here, we have the same principle. It looks the same as the room, living room, music room. We kept the corners, we restored some of it, or the architects restored some of the pieces that were broken and cracked. So now it looks absolutely beautiful. And also another rug. This is another area to come to be calm, soothing, cozy. So this is another example how a rug makes that haven of peace and calmness and relaxation possible. Without it, it wouldn't work. The home office of the owner is here, but he also wanted someone who could sit down and read, contemplate, close those doors, be on his own, just have a nice time. And one of his favorite chairs, which we then went out and got for him, is the original Eames chair. Can't go wrong. I think it was designed in 1956, still going strong, still as comfortable as 1956. But it's a very lovely place to sit and just have a nice, calm time. This desk was selected because it's organic shape, which follows through from what shapes are going on in the living room. But it's also a really cool desk. I mean, it's made from solid walnut, which is a beautiful material in itself. But it's designed so you could place yourself anywhere around the desk. You don't have to sit over there, although the owner has selected that's what he wished to sit. It has drawers around it. Cable management is through the legs of the desk. It's quite a unique piece, and I think it looks beautiful. One thing we did have to change, although they still look very traditional, is all the radiators throughout the property, because sadly the old radiators, beautiful as they were, didn't work very well. So these are old looking but new radiator, because it is important that we obviously make sure that you don't waste energy and electricity unnecessarily. What I would like to also show you is this, and I do like this in these old properties, the built-in shutters. So they close like this, and then they close like that. Before we move on, one last thing, which is quite interesting. As a designer, is particularly interesting because these chandeliers, which are the same in the living and music room and as well here, came from the old property of the client, and they wanted to move them across. And I said, no, they're not going to work. They're too contemporary. But they do work so well, and I think because they don't interfere at all with the beautiful ceiling rows. They kind of work really well. So, thumbs up for those. Now we're back on the landing of the entrance, and I would just like to point out everything is monochrome apart from the red door, don't forget the red door, but everything else is quite monochrome throughout the whole landing up to the top floor, apart from put a delicate soft touch tone into the beautiful Roger Rose flat weave star runner, which I really like. And To link that, we found this beautiful glass, hand-blown glass Venetian chandeliers, which are very elegant. I also really like this bespoke piece that we had commissioned to fit the space perfectly. It's solid wood, and it's just the texture of it I love. And then with some accents of these wooden bowls. Perfect keys and stuff like that, I really like that. Okay, but now we're going to move away from the traditional part of the house into the more contemporary part of the house. This part is brand new. It wasn't here before. It was designed and executed by Chris Dyson Architects, and I love it. So the staircase sweeps down to the new extension and the kitchen, and then you have this fantastic frameless circular skylight above, which I think is amazing. And as well as this very large pane of glass. They were very keen of having that minimized barriers between inside and outside, and I think they've done a superb job. Now I'm going to talk about the part we played. So the finishes on the walls is a polished plaster. It's made by Claybrooks, but it's a take on the polished plaster. It's not polished, it's much more rough and textured, which gives a warmth to the space. We also decided on these light because they go so beautiful with the staircase, and they're quite contemporary, which we like, and also minimal, because in the end of the day, it's the outside that plays the biggest part in this space. The cladding of the staircase, I think, is exceptional. It's absolutely stunning. It's a travertine stone. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It looks almost like a stair runner, but it's not, it's stone. So this floor is the home of the kitchen, the dining room. We have a snug over there as well, but before we get into that, I would like to show you this amazing kitchen. I mean, it's such a luxury to have so much space for a kitchen. It's so amazing. We have a very, very large island. It's sort of double size, triple size. It's huge with this amazing stone. I love, love, love this stone. Look at the colors in it. Come closer, you can have a look, see? You've got the black, you've got the golden tones, the white. It's very, very nice. The whole palette of this kitchen, which was designed with our help by Roundhouse, was to use natural materials such as walnut, we have the stone, and we have this beautiful metal cladding for the doors, which is a bronze color to give it warmth, but also be able to play with a dark tone. And this tone also then links back to the incredible staircase we just came down. But it's very dark and moody, but you can afford it because look at this space, it's so large. You don't feel like you're in a dark space at all. So we are quite pleased with it. We also had different little colors injected as well. I mean, actually, we can come around a bit more, I can show you more details of it. Instead of having just plain, you can see there is the metal list going all the way, detail going all the way around. Wherever you see you have a space in between the stone and the units, is that beautiful brass metal, which is gorgeous. The actual kitchen ends here, but as you can look around, you can see that we extended it with the clever use of joinery to make it more of a piece of furniture as well as a very functional kitchen. So these pieces are added, and as you go around, look at that, such a lovely color. And we go around to over here. Then we have this cladding that we added, same color as the kitchen units. And then we have some double doors. And then we decided on one little color we would like to introduce. And what we also did was in all the joinery down here, we introduced more metal, similar or as close looking to the kitchen cladding as we could. So everything started really coming together. And then we also used that same red tone for the leather of the bar stools, the leg, and I'm going to show you also for the kitchen dining table. Same principle, and the base of the table is beautiful. It's called papillon, like the butterfly, and it's in a beautiful red, dark red tone. Same as here, but just different takes on the same material. Walnut, metal, but just slightly different. One thing that always causes issues and problems and head scratching for designers is how to light a dining table over a very large skylight. Obviously you can't put electricity into glass, so you've got to find other ways of cleverly making sure you get light on top of the table. And this system we found is by Vibia, and I really, really like it. It's so playful. You don't need electricity at this point. This whole thing over the dining table is powered from that point over there because we couldn't get electricity in the beams, which is metal above here. And then these 3 bulbs or globes are powered from that black spot over there. But the incredible thing with this system, this is the power lead. And the globes and the pendants over there can be placed any place on this lead. There is a clip at the top of the fitting that has metal spikes in it. So when you clip that down, the spikes goes into this cord, which is safe to touch, but inside is the metal and the electricity. I think it's just genius. So you can sling it anywhere. You can, if you look over here, for example, we just have those holders. So you can place it, you can place those anywhere and have light miles away from the power source. So we added one more color. I said it was only one color, which was the dark red, but we also added this very vibrant blue. And it kind of started, I'm not sure which came first. It might have been, this is from Julian Chichester and it's called the Long Wave. I mean, it makes sense. But this little light fitting, which is made in London by a ceramist, and each one are different, and there are ceramics and then the glaze. And because that blue and that glaze just popped, we liked it. And then everything sort of happened as it does. And this is a piece of photography which I've loved for a long time, which the client had. So it was a perfect spot for that. Almost what happened to this house at one point. Everything was ripped out and then it was put back together again. We also have this lovely sliding glass door, which is obviously by the architect again. And the garden is leading straight out now from this level of the property. And the garden was designed by the architect Chris Dyson, and it's really beautiful. The gorgeous kitchen is over here, but we have a kind of a back kitchen, so much space. So this is the back kitchen. This is where all the machinery, it's like the garage of the kitchen. I'm not going to open any of these cupboards door because they are full of all sorts of things. But it's a very nice station. So you have your coffee station, you have more wine coolers, but we designed it to be pantry spaces. So behind you would probably have, I hope, equipment you need in the kitchen, like electrical equipment, mixers and things like that. But it's a very, very good space to have as a back kitchen. We also have, I forgot to mention the floor. We actually have polished concrete floor. So this is almost hidden door that leads down to the other level, lower levels of the property. And down there is a gym, utility room, and a most gorgeous wine cellar as well. And this is the Snug. This was previously the dining room when we visited the property before it was developed. What we've done in this room is again continuing the theme of respecting the original architectural features such as ceiling rows and covings, etc. We have cladded this room with the joinery, which actually adds to the snug cocooned feeling and also the choice of colour, which is the same as the kitchen cabinets, but it makes you feel very cosy and cocoon and very, very warm and snug and safe. I want to talk about the sofa because it's an unusual way to choose a sofa. This company, Makers & Son, they actually come to you with a camper van or a minivan, so you can do a sit test of the sofa. So we were actually at the time having a meeting with the owners of the property, our clients, and asked them to come and park outside our studio with the camper van, minivan. So they opened the back of this van and they have pieces of different pieces like sofas and armchairs that they provide, and then you can come and sit in it. And then they have all the fabrics you can select as well to have it upholstered in. Genius. Literally a mobile sit test service. Brilliant. So to follow on with a few things, so we're talking about the same elements being used and materials and colours being used in this Snug to link it to the kitchen area. Starting with the rug in this room. This rug is woven with copper thread, so it's metallic. The orangey bits are all copper metallic threads, which I think is gorgeous, beautiful. And you can actually see when the sun hits it, it sort of reflects the light as metal wood. This Same principle. So we have introduced in all the joinery we designed is copper again. So real metal cladded pieces of the joinery. We have speakers here. We have speakers there. And here we have, oh, look who's on the TV. What a surprise. We have TV. And cleverly designed by the team is this grid. So that's in front of the speaker, so you can hear it perfectly well, but it doesn't look like it's a speaker there, which I love. We also have this amazing piece, which I love. This is all made from solid wood, and it's based on a toy that is a Swedish toy brand called Brio, which you might have seen the Dachshund that has a wiggly tail and it moves around on wheels. This is a similar thing. And it's said it's supposed to be the Nordic democracy or the Nordic democratic way to design things, because you can take this apart as you wish and whoever is in the room can put it together in a totally different way if they fancy. And then you have a different height, everything is just stackable, which is quite fun. So you can redesign it if you're bored. There you go. We are now on the first floor landing, and this entire floor is taken up with the main bedroom, dressing room and ensuite, which is so lovely. Before we go into the main bedroom, I have to point out this wallpaper that I really, really like. It's quite special. It's tiny well, it's not tiny, but it's wood that is cut so finely like a paper and randomly applied to this wallpaper, which means that every piece of it is going to be different from one meter to the next, and it's such a bespoke artisan piece, and I really, really enjoy that. And this one is also, I must mention this, it's very, very, very old, and it's the client's own piece. I think it's from our ancestors or something like that, but it's just very lovely. All right, into the master or the main bedroom. It's peaceful, it's lovely. I could live here so easily, but it's not my house. Oh. I would like to take a moment to speak about this bed, which is the most high maintenance piece of furniture and definitely bed we've ever had to deal with. Swiftly, it's made in Spain by solid walnut, by a company that does beautiful work with walnut and wood in general called De La Spada. So it was made and then it had to be shipped, but because it's made in Spain and because it's solid wood, it had to be climate checked or it had to be climate controlled for its journey to the UK. Then it had to be stored in the UK under climate control, the right temperature, humidity, and then it had to get used to the UK environment. And then eventually it came to this room. So it was a very long process, and we never done that before, so it was quite interesting. But it's a fantastic bed because it not only has the lovely velvet and the soft, really soft headboard, but these wings to make you feel like you're sitting in a cocoon, which I really, really like. And also that we are able to, on this occasion, set all the controls into the headboard. And as well as you have the bedside tables built in. So it's a lovely bed, does everything. So the backdrop to this bed is a beautiful wallpaper, which is a silk wallpaper. And actually inset at the top is also the air conditioning units, which is so nice we can incorporate those modern necessities nowadays, but it's seamless. They're not noticed. We have also here in the Snug, we took out a traditional fireplace. Ta-da! We moved it up here, and it's such a beautiful fireplace. The fireplace that was in this space actually wasn't a fireplace in this space. That had been taken out by somebody. So this is now the fireplace in the Snug, and it looks so lovely in this bedroom. And it's such a nice thing when you can reuse things and respect the property and how it was built originally. Another important feature, I believe anyway, in a bedroom is to have a nice, comfortable chair. And of course, when the chair is this nice, you absolutely have to resist the urge to put all your clothes on top of it. I'm going to show you in a minute where you can put your clothes. When you're using good quality materials such as solid wood, they can be made anywhere. For example, the walnut in this bed is from Spain and made in Spain. This is made in London. Solid walnut, beautiful shelving unit. It looks great and they go beautifully together. So you're wondering where the door is to the dressing room and the ensuite. It's here. Actually, we've got two doors. One is here and one is over there, one for him and one for her. So come with me. And now we're in the dressing room. What I like about this dressing room is that it's all joinery. So everything is hidden away, of course, apart from the handbags, which are gorgeous. I mean, really gorgeous. Look how well this suit me. Look, look, look. But the beauty of this is that everything can be hidden away and everything has a home. The little bits, the big bits, everything. And I do like that. And there's one more thing, which I also think is quite nice about this. We have the same chandelier in here as we have in the master bedroom. And when you open the windows and you get a little bit of breeze going through, it makes such a nice calming sound. Now, there is one more room on this floor we haven't seen yet, which is the ensuite. Where is it? I wonder. Well, here we go. This is the ensuite, and I want to show it to you, although we didn't design it. To be honest, it was Chris Dyson Architects, but it's a really lovely space. The colour palette is just muted and calming and soothing. And now we're coming up to the second landing, but before we go up there, I would like to just point out these lovely lights with the backdrop of this beautiful view. Crystal chandelier, alabaster lighting. They're so simple, but so beautiful. Okay, the first room we're going to go into is the nursery. So, nursery. The key with children's bedrooms is that the current little person living in this room is a baby. But a little person becomes a big person, a teenager, and that's a whole different situation. And when you do a room, it's nice to be thinking about how this room could change over time and then how a teenager would enjoy it as much as a baby does. And that's how we design these rooms. Same principle as we spoke about in the living room and in the snug and in the study, is that we left the originals of the property intact and we cladded the room with joinery. This is all built-in joinery, apart from the bed. The bed can be removed, and on the side of the bed, which you can't see at the moment, is prepared plug sockets and lights, switches and so on. So you can have a bedside light, you can have a double bed, single bed, but it could come out that way. So you have a whole different setting then, which is great. This wallpaper is one of my favorite, wall coverings. It's grass cloth. It's made to fit the space. And it's called the Parade of the Animals Down to the River. And you can see all the different animals making their way down to the river. It's a South African company that is the designers called Ardmore. And the details is just amazing. Not only do they do wallpapers, that's a recent thing for them to do. And this one is in collaboration with Cole & Son, which is a very known wallpapering company. But all these things came from ceramics. So they have these amazing pots that has all these little animals in 3D with all the little paints and the colorings. It's absolutely stunning. I love it. It's so interesting. Building on these parading animals, I thought we have one monkey there. We probably have one behind the bunny. But to have some more monkeys is always fun, right? So we have two more monkeys with light bulbs. So they're lights. One climbing on the wall and one you can hang it anywhere really with this rope, as you can see. Because it's a baby here, we don't want to have too low down, so he can hang on it. So how to future-proof this room? I show you. As I mentioned, you can have the bed, you can have a double bed here, and that will be a nice cozy sleeping area. At the moment you have a cot, that could be a sofa or a desk area. Over here you have a chest of drawer, but that's also set up to have a desk if that is a better place to have a desk. So you can really change it into an adult or a teenager's room. You have the wardrobes, you have the books for studying, everything is here, ready to grow up with. So there are two more bedrooms on this floor, and together with the nursery they share the same family bathroom. This way on the left here there is a smaller bedroom that can be used for an extra study, guest bedroom or nanny if you have staff. And then I'm going to take it down to this double guest bedroom. that is also slightly Asian inspired. The wallpaper is a golden backdrop which gives such a warmth to the room, and then with the monochrome carps swimming all over it. The key to these smaller rooms is making sure that some items doesn't take up too much space. Needless to say, it's a guest bedroom with a bed, so the bed needs to take up as much space as you can afford. In this instance, we couldn't fit normal sized bedside tables, so we had these bedside tables made bespoke to fit a larger bed. What we didn't go small for is this lovely light. Yes, it's huge. But the reason we actually use it quite often, it almost feels like a bed canopy. You know when you're in a old-fashioned posh baby hotel and you have this canopy over the bed, four-poster type thing. This light does that. It makes you feel quite cozy sleeping underneath it, and it adds drama. Otherwise, it wouldn't be that of a much of an interesting room. But with that light, it really adds the drama to the space. One more thing, which I thought was quite cute. This mirror is called Chi-Chi. It's called Chi-Chi because that was the name of the giant panda that used to live at London Zoo. And of course, the giant panda, pretty much all they eat is bamboo. Hence the name of this mirror is called Chi-Chi. Welcome to the top of the house. This used to be a normal kind of loft space that had some storage, and it had some Velux windows, and it wasn't really used for anything much. So we have, together with architects, obviously repurposed it. The architect, Chris Dyson, did a fantastic job. I need to show you before we talk about anything else, if that's okay. So like I mentioned downstairs, the Chris and Dyson Architects, one of the principles they were working on when they're creating these glazed areas of the property was to minimize the barrier between the inside and the outside. And this is done so, it's such a good example of that. It's minimal framing. You do feel like you are outside. You stand here and you can see the sky, you can see above you, you can see in front of you on the sides. The view is incredible. And it's just an absolute riot. The theme for this room was to have a double bed, a desk, somewhere cozy to sit down, space for books, all taken care of. But we didn't just want a kind of normal bed. We went for a bit different type of bed. The bed we selected is this lovely bed from Bonaldo that has a headboard, which looks like a scattering of cushions, but it isn't. It's a fixed headboard. We then selected this fabric to have it upholstered in, which has so many beautiful colors in it, including these lovely sort of oak colors and the yellow, ochre yellow, which we then took into a lovely mohair cozy rug from Annette Nix, the rug designer, and also this B&B Italia swivel chair called the Husk, which is like, when you sit in it, it's like a hug, really. So it is, you can have it like this, or you can unclip it, you can turn, that's just the husk, it's called Husk and it is a husk, and then you can turn this and make it into a different kind of a chair. How cool is that? And actually the other interesting thing is that it's a swivel, but the plastic or the husk of it is made from recyclable and recycled plastics. It's called something special, which I can't remember the name of now, but it's supposed to be very sustainable because it can be recycled, and it already has been recycled. Bye bye Luxury Home Show. It's been a pleasure working with you again. I'm Mia Karlsson, and you might see a bit of my house maybe soon. Bye.
Hi Luxury Home Show, I'm Leanne of Good Bones, and welcome to my townhouse in London. So now we're in the entrance hall of our Victorian terraced house. It's a townhouse.